Hello, in this tutorial here we'll implement the File Server Resource Manager role for a Windows Server 2016 file server. And just to review quickly, in the previous videos we have created a domain with two DCs and with DHCP and DNS rules installed and configured. There's a file server and shares created with a Windows 7 PC used to test those. And in this video we're going to install the FSRM role, discuss the features that it allows us to do, and we'll get into editing quota templates, and we'll actually implement a quota and demonstrate it. In the next videos coming up we'll discuss the other features. And just a quick review, here's one example. We have an HR share with a user group that can access, that has read-write access to that HR share. And in a subfolder, we have another user group, the HR USA department. They can access a subfolder of that HR department, but they can't access the root share of any of the files there. So I'll just pull up the virtual machines here, and here we have our file server. And the first thing we need to do is add the File Server Resource Manager role. So we come in here, we want to install the role on this specific server, and we expand File and Storage Services, and then in here, File Server Resource Manager. And of course we need the console to be able to manage those features, so we have to add that as well. It describes what this feature does for us, or the role I mean. Click on next, and install. That doesn't take too long. Okay, so that feature is completed. There's nothing else for us to do. Just close that. Oops. And then we can load the console from Tools and File Server Resource Manager. So this here is our console. Again, you can manage another server if you want to, connect to another computer, and here we see that it's connected to the local file server. The first feature, Quota Management. So what this does is we can implement a limit to the file shares. So we can say that this HR folder can only reach 1 gigabyte in size. It's just an example. While this share either has no quota, or maybe it has 2 gigabytes worth of storage available for people to dump data into. That quota that we apply, it can be a hard quota, meaning when they reach that limit, there's nothing they can do. They can't edit the document, they can't make any data grow or change in there. They can shrink, but they can't make it grow. Or you can set a soft quota, and that is more for monitoring. So if people do go over, they are allowed to go over that size limitation that you set, but it's more for monitoring. And usually when you're going to implement quotas for the first time, you do the monitoring first and see who is growing the fastest, and you can kind of warn people a little bit better than just saying, okay, it's in effect, you can't grow, and then you find out your fastest growing volume stops working in the middle of the day, and lots of people complain and get angry at you. So that's kind of an idea of how that works. The next feature, File Screening Management. So this here says that, okay, for the HR folder, you're not allowed to save PST files in this folder, which are email files. You can say videos aren't allowed, or Word documents aren't allowed to be saved in this folder. It's just different examples, but it gives you an idea. So you can set up groups of files or individual extensions. Storage management reports. So here you can create a report template and apply it to a folder. So as at the end of the week or month, however you schedule it, or maybe just on demand, you can run a report and get a list of the 100 largest files within this folder and all of its subfolders. And there's lots of different examples of your reports, like least commonly used, largest files, and yeah, there's lots of other stuff in there. Classification management, that's kind of an interesting feature where you can, I think I've never actually implemented it, but you can specify basically you can classify a document or a folder based on its contents and then adjust permissions that way. So if a credit card number is found in a document, then permissions are restricted to only the accounting department or the accounting manager. Or if a social insurance number is found in a file, then access gets reduced so that only the HR department can view it. That kind of thing. And then for file management tasks, so an example of file management tasks is based on the classifications that you create in the rules. You can say that, for example, if a confidential file is found, move it to another location. Or you can also work with different ages of the file. If the age has not been accessed for the last 5 years, you could move that to a different area as well. So just some examples there, but we won't go through that just yet. Okay, so let's start by creating a quota for our HR folder, and we'll just say that it has a limit of 20 megabytes for now. So under quota management, we see we have a whole bunch of templates. So generally, as a template, you want to keep that intact the way it is. And when you want to use a template, you can either, what I would recommend is to copy this template to one of your own custom ones. So let's see, a 5 gig a minute, 200 megabytes. So there's nothing exactly what we want for our 20 megabyte limit. So let's create a new one from scratch. And I'll call it lab 20 megabyte hard limit. And kind of a self-explanatory name. So the space limit is going to be 20 megabyte and it's a hard limit. We can set up notifications so that when a certain threshold is reached, it will send an email, it will log something, or we can have it run a command or a report or any combination of. So in the because I don't have an email server set up, we can't demonstrate that, but I'll just demonstrate the event log. So when it reaches 85% full, I'm going to send a warning in the event log. The event log will say this. I can customize that if I want, and I can insert variables from this preset value. And again, if I wanted to run a script, I can use that or generate a report. But for now, we'll just create the event. And actually, I'll create two. I'll add another one. If it reaches 100%, oops, number lock. I'm going to send a warning in the event log. Okay. So now we have two events with different thresholds, and they're going to log to the event log when, I thought I said 20, when it reaches 20 megabytes. Copy the properties. I could also copy the template from one of these other ones here. I could say select that and copy, and then these values would be populated down here. But I didn't. We just did it all manually. So click on OK. That will create the template, And I always like to prefix my custom templates with the name of the company or whatever, just so I know that somebody in this company has created this company rule. If I said just 20 megabyte hard limit, I wouldn't really know that it was a custom template. So, okay, so now that we have a template, but we haven't applied that to a folder yet, so we do that in the next step by creating a quota and our quota path. So this is the HR folder where our share is. Copy that. Or you can click on browse and find it that way too. Create a quota on the path, auto apply a template and create quotas on existing and new subfolders. So we want to create a quota on this path. And we want to derive its properties from the template that we created. So that's the lab 20 megabyte hard limit. And this is a summary of its restrictions. Okay, so now we have created that. If we give it a little bit of time, it will calculate this percent used value. And I'm going to just Google how to create a file of a certain size, just so we can speed up this process a bit. Okay, so DOS command, and let's go to the folder, cd shares, cdhr, and USA. So the command fs util file, create new, and give it a name. Let's say 1 megabyte file, txt. Now if I did that right, we'll see how big the file is. USA 1 megabyte file, almost 1 megabyte. Should probably be 1024 and then a bunch of zeros. But that's close enough. So now we have at least 1 megabyte in there of our 20 megabyte quota, so we should, let's create a couple more. So we'll see something a little bit bigger than 0%. If we refresh this, where's refresh here? There we go. So we see we've reached 24% of our quota. Oh yeah, and that was just done by the administrator, by the way. If we load up our Windows 7 PC, get Pac-Man logged in. USA, and here we can see a bunch of files. So here, there's 8.85 megabytes. Copy. This will be about 19. Properties, 17 megabytes. So that's getting close to the limit there. 86%. So now we should have a log in the event viewer, or an email if we had checked that. We'll load up the event viewer, and in the application log, I think it's the application, might be system. Okay, yeah, so there's our warning in the event log, and again, this message here, you can customize it, and you can email that same thing to the user, so they are aware why they might be reaching the limit. So again, it gives you the username and that we've exceeded the quota. The quota limit is that, and we're currently at 17 megabytes. So what happens if we copy that once more, paste, we're allowed to paste it, paste again, we must be close now. 19 megabytes. This one here, paste. We're almost there. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, there we go. There's not enough space on the HR share. Cancel. And here's our 100% warning. It's basically the same template, but it tells us that we're trying to exceed that quota. So, pretty cool feature. I like it. You definitely do want to implement it. Otherwise, if you have, say, 20 shares on your disk, then if one person were to fill up one share, or let me rephrase that. Say there's 20 shares for 20 different departments. If you don't have quotas, one person could upload all of their pirated movies and fill up the entire drive, messing up your 20 other departments. So if you set up a quota to say that the salespeople can only have a certain amount, then if that one person dumps in, their 1 terabyte of movies onto that share, it will affect that one share and it won't fill up the entire drive, screwing up everybody else. So it's a very good feature. I like it. Hope you enjoy it.